Most coaches and leaders think they're asking really great questions, but the truth is, most of us are asking closed-ended questions that often shut down conversations and limit other people's thinking. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brian Seppi. I help coaches and leaders thrive in their roles. One simple truth about coaching and leading is that we feel like we're better at asking questions than we actually are. Most of us are stuck between thinking we offer open-ended questions that promote other people's thinking, when in actuality, we're stuck in this sort of closed-ended question loop that we never seem to get out of. In this video, I'm going to show you how to flip your closed-ended question mindset into this open question loop that ultimately sparks reflection, insight, and curiosity into the people that you are working with. If you want your coaching practice, whether you're a leader or a coach, to move forward, you're going to want to stick around for this video. First thing is, let's get clear on some ground rules. Let's get clear on the distinction between closed-ended questions and open-ended questions. First and foremost, closed-ended questions often have a yes/no response to them. They are questions that are a little bit more finite and don't typically promote thinking. The trap here is that they lead to short interactions, short responses, and often lead to some dead ends. Could be things like, well, how did you think that lesson went? Good. That's a simple response that gets you nowhere, right? What we need to do is open the floodgates of dialogue between two people, especially in those coaching or leadership interactions, with open-ended questions. Open-ended questions, on the other hand, are infinite. There's an infinite number of responses that someone can offer for that question that you would ask. These are questions that promote thinking. They open up rich dialogue and discussion between two people or more. They often require some context and often require some evidence in the discussion that people would offer back in response to those questions. So what can we do about it? Well, here are 3 simple shifts that I think could really work for all coaches, myself included. The first one is pretty simple. It's just a lift and replace strategy. This week, when you're about to ask a question, if you feel like it's going to be a closed-ended question and you're in the moment, here's a quick technique to lift that question and have it become a little bit more open-ended. So it might sound like, if you're the type of leader that starts with a did you, that did you conversation is going to lead to a closed-ended question. Replace did you with a what or a how. So instead of starting the conversation with did you get to that lesson or did you get to that content, yes or no response, closed-ended question, one simple finite response, you're going to replace it with a what or how in front of that did. So it might sound something like this. What did you do in order to get all students learning at the same time? How did you, right? That just simple what or how is enough to transform the conversation, to have somebody giving you a little bit more context or a little bit more evidence as to what they did or how they did that thing. So that's the first one. It's just a simple lift and replace with what or how. When you've asked a what or how question, now you want to move into the second strategy, which is the follow-up question. The easiest one to try comes from Michael Bungay Stainer. In his work, it's the awe question, and what else? When you have a conversation and you are in a dialogue with someone and you've asked that what or how question, it's very easy to just take a pause, trust the silence, let them finish their response, and at the end of that response, offer one more pause, and then jump in with the awe question. And what else? You could also link it to its cousin, which is tell me more, and see if they can extend that thought. By doing this, you're opening up the possibilities in the conversation. You're moving from a closed circuit to an open dialogue with that partner. So now that we have those first 2 strategies intact, here's the third one. Get yourself prepared ahead of time. Develop a bank of questions that are open-ended. This is very simple. You could put this prompt into ChatGPT or any other AI platform and get yourself a bank of questions. If you need a starter kit, I can help you because I have a PDF of questions that you could use. However, when you have a bank of questions that you are relying on, and it doesn't have to be an exhaustive list, but you just need a few, like 10 would be like my starter kit. What are your 10 most basic questions that you feel comfortable and you have a fluency over and are after sparking someone else's curiosity or their thinking, or you're trying to promote or facilitate their thinking? Once you have that list of questions, continue to refine it, practice them until they become your own. Chances are you're going to start with a question or a stem that somebody else created or that AI created for you, and you're going to develop new language around that stem so that that question becomes more akin to how you would ask it. So get yourself a bank of questions to start, a little starter kit, 10 questions. You're going to have to figure out which ones work for you, but you need something that's going to clarify where someone wants to be in the conversation, where they are currently, and options or pathways in between. Once you have those three categories of questions available, how do we develop a goal? How do we develop questions around where they are now? And how do we develop a bank of questions around options for getting there? That three-pronged approach to a bank of questions is probably going to be enough for you. Get it to be about 10, maybe no more than 12. Have that starter kit, start to begin to rehearse those questions as you go and see how they develop over time for you. So here's a simple way to kind of bring it all together. This week, whatever your question is, make sure that it has a what or a how up front. That's going to promote thinking. It's going to engage the dialogue. It's going to get your partner talking about their experience and giving you some context or some evidence. Second thing is, after you ask one of those questions that you are ready to ask that's going to promote some dialogue or some discussion, make sure you follow it up with either tell me more as an option to or an invitation to extend that thinking, or you can tack it on with an and what else for further context or further evidence. And the final thing is get yourself prepared. Like, don't leave this to chance. Get yourself out there, get a bank of questions. It's easier now than it ever has been to get in there, develop questions around the goal, where somebody wants to be, the reality, where they are now, and questions around options. When you prompt AI to give you that bank of questions, you can practice those 10 to 12 questions in every interaction that you have this week. And the final little challenge that I have for you is write down or reflect after you leave an interaction. If you've done all those three things, write down what you noticed in the other person and what you noticed in yourself. Chances are you would notice that there have been new insights in your partner's thinking, or you've promoted some discussion or some dialogue with those people. The thing you're going to notice in yourself that's probably pretty evident is that you might have to require some time or some development around things like pausing or paraphrasing to make sure that you're getting it right and to create that time and space for people to do their best thinking. I hope this helps. Thanks for all you do. Leave me a comment, and if you want my bank of questions, let me know in the comment section and I will get that out to you in a PDF.